Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at a really critical part of starting a new business, something you might not always see up front.
Yeah, the initial support system. Or sometimes the lack of one.
Exactly. And our focus is on Muhammad Khan, who opened his Gino's Pizza franchise back on February 2nd, 2024.
We'll be digging into the, let's say, immediate hurdles he ran into right in those crucial first weeks.
And what seems really central to his experience right off the bat was this perceived gap.
A gap in support.
Yeah, support and communication he expected from the franchisor.
And that kind of thing, it translates fast into real problems, doesn't it? Like making the business visible.
Which is absolutely fundamental, for any new venture in those first days.
Couldn't agree more.
So this deep dive, it draws right from Muhammad Khan's own account of what happened.
Okay.
Our aim is just to understand those initial obstacles, how he tried to get the franchise running, and the franchisor's response, based only on the info he's provided.
Got it. So based on his perspective, let's jump in then.
Okay. Opening day, February 2nd, 2024.
Right. But interestingly, even though the doors were open, theoretically, welcoming customers.
The website.
Exactly. The main company website still said coming soon.
No way. For how long?
For a full 2 days. It didn't get updated until February 4th.
Wow. Think about anyone searching online. That's confusing, to say the least.
Yeah, sends a weird message, doesn't it? And it wasn't just the online side. There doesn't seem to have been any, big public announcement or any promotion led by the franchisor about the opening.
So a really quiet launch. Almost silent.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And adding to that, there was a physical visibility problem, too.
The sign.
The main pylon sign. The big one in the plaza that catches your eye.
Yeah, crucial for traffic.
Muhammad says it stayed unlit, off for weeks after he opened.
Weeks. Oh, man. So, okay, let me get this straight. Potential customers might struggle to find him online.
Mm-hmm.
And if they drove by, they literally might not see the place because the sign was dark.
That's the picture he paints, yeah. A significant headwind, like you said.
You'd think that's something you'd flag immediately.
And he says he did. Raised these concerns on opening day itself.
Makes sense. You'd want that fixed, yesterday.
You would anticipate a swift response, wouldn't you? But the first formal written reply he got back from a representative
When was that?
didn't arrive until February 21st.
February 21st. That's almost 3 weeks after opening.
Nearly 3 weeks, yeah.
And what was the reason? For the sign, for example.
The reply apparently said the issue had been raised with the landlord.
With the landlord.
Yeah, and they're waiting for the landlord's feedback or action.
So kind of deferring responsibility.
Well, it highlights that dynamic, right? Multiple parties involved.
Mm-hmm.
But from Muhammad's perspective, it felt like responsibility kept shifting.
Between the operations team and the landlord?
Seems like it. And no clear progress was being made on getting that sign lit.
He actually described feeling in the dark.
Literally, with the sign-off.
Right, making the store hard to spot.
And figuratively, too,
Yeah.
Lack of clear updates, lack of support on these basic visibility things.
Okay, so those are the initial setup issues.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was something else, too, wasn't there? Another signage problem?
Yes, a different kind of issue. He reported that a neighboring business in the same plaza, they installed their own sign directly onto the exterior wall of his franchise.
Without asking.
Without his permission first, according to him.
Oh, that's awkward. Right off the bat with a neighbor. How did he handle that?
Well, he mentioned he actually offered to share the wall space.
Okay, seems reasonable. Like trying to find a solution.
A neighborly approach, yeah. But the issue didn't just go away.
And he reported this to the franchisor.
Multiple times, he says, between March and April.
And the response.
He states he didn't get a clear reply or any real resolution from them.
So what happened? Did they just ignore it?
Again, the communication, or maybe the lack of it, apparently involved pointing him back towards the landlord.
Back to the landlord again. Instead of the franchisor stepping in.
That's what he describes, yeah. Instead of them directly helping sort out this conflict over signage space for their own franchisee.
It does make you wonder, doesn't it? About what level of intervention a franchisee should expect in those kinds of situations.
Exactly.
It really paints this picture of him feeling, well, kind of left to deal with these fundamental problems alone.
And we both know, anyone who started a business knows, visibility is just, it's everything at the start.
It's not just about getting people in the door, right? It's about trust, showing you're open, professional, ready.
Precisely. And Muhammad observed this himself. He saw that the missing signs, the weak start online, It actually affected how customers saw the place.
How so?
He apparently heard from people who thought the store was still under construction.
Oh, wow. That's a huge hurdle if people don't even realize you're open for business.
A massive obstacle when you're trying to build any kind of initial momentum.
So understandably, he felt, well, he used the word abandoned.
Abandoned. Yeah, you can see why. You invest in a franchise, you expect a certain framework, right? Support, guidance.
Especially with the basics, like signs and website listings.
And then to feel isolated when facing those exact challenges. Yet you can appreciate the frustration.
But then things took a bit of a turn.
Seems so. The narrative shifts slightly here. Muhammad mentioned getting an unexpected phone call.
From who?
Directly from the president of Gino's Pizza.
The president. Okay, that does sound like a potential shift.
Yeah, for the president of the whole organization to personally call a new franchisee, especially so early on.
It suggests maybe his concerns had finally bubbled up to a higher level.
Perhaps. Or that they recognized something needed a more direct approach.
And what was the call about?
The purpose, he said, was an invitation. For an in-person meeting?
An in-person meeting with the president. Okay.
Which could imply, a recognition that maybe the usual channels weren't working and a face-to-face was needed to sort things out.
Right. So just to recap where things stood before that call, Muhammad's facing a delayed online launch, a key sign that's unlit for weeks.
Slow responses when he reports issues.
This conflict with the neighbor over wall space.
Mm-hmm.
And just this overall profound feeling of not getting the basic support he expected from the franchisor.
A really tough start by any measure. And it's crucial we reiterate this.
Yes.
This whole deep dive is based on Muhammad Khan's account, his perspective, his experience.
Absolutely. These aren't legally decided facts. It's his recounting of events.
Correct.
And that really sets the stage for our next deep dive, doesn't it?
It does. We'll need to explore what happened in that meeting. The in-person meeting with the president of Gino's Pizza.
Yeah, what was discussed, what came out of it, and how it impacted Muhammad's situation.
If you listening are interested in seeing more from Muhammad's perspective, maybe some documents he mentions.
Where can people find that?
He has an Instagram page. It's Gino's former franchisee, all one word.
Gino's former franchisee.
Okay.
And he shares his experiences there.
Seems to be a place he's documenting his journey, and potentially where others might share similar stories too.
Right. Well, this definitely leaves us with something to think about.
For sure. It raises a really important question for you, the listener, to consider.
Which is?
What is the essential role of a franchisor? How much support is critical for launching a new location successfully?
And what happens? What are the consequences when that support seems to fall short, especially in those make or break first few months?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Something to mull over as we wrap up this part of the story.